Back in the day, um, two kingdoms were at war, or two nation states were at war. So the power rested with the state or the ruler. But in this information age, what we've seen is power diffusion. So power rests with non state actors as well. It could be a terrorist group, they too wield power. It could be an NGO, it could be a civil society movement, it could be
Tech company.
a tech company, absolutely. So a state may be working with you, but an NGO may be attacking you and your legitimacy, by coming up with ratings, press freedom, religious freedom, so on and so forth. So I think increasingly governments, we spend a lot on our military, but we are not looking at these other forces of power that are at play and that are also shaping how the world looks at us and how we look at ourselves.
Versus America or China, which actually focus on these factors?
I'm not sure China has been able to do it very successfully. They've spent a lot of money, yes, with, you could say it's soft power. So China's soft power is not so great because no one believes what they're saying. They spent a lot of money on Confucius institutes and, it didn't sort of work out the way they thought it would. The US has done way better because the world is still thinking of that as the ideal way of life, Their value system, their society is still, it is not ideal, but it's seen as such. So they've been able to successfully wield soft power. But if you look at their expenditure again on military versus all of this, it's a fraction. India has done quite okay. We've promoted yoga and Ayurveda and so on. But if you look at the larger scheme of things, we are way behind. And it's very important to talk about this now because these non-state players are basically attacking your legitimacy. And I don't know if you've read Joseph Nye, who's written about soft power a lot. He says legitimacy is a power reality in our world.
Let's break that down a little bit.
Yeah.
This is the first time hearing a geopolitical themed podcast guest saying that.
Okay.
It's always conversations about hard power.
Yeah.
And I'm yet to be convinced that soft power plays that significant a role, though some would argue that media is a part of soft power.
Absolutely.
Go for it.
So I'll take it from where I left about legitimacy,
Sure.
Right? When someone is questioning your legitimacy as a democracy, when they're questioning whether now you won the election, but even that win is being questioned. They're saying that your voters did not make an informed choice. So that is taking away from your, for want of a better word again, legitimacy. How are you going to secure it?
I think the word you're looking for is what.
What's that?
Okay, it's a Hindi word which basically means street cred.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay. I didn't know this. So I've learned something too.
Go on.
So the point is that you have to build resources to secure it. And it comes at a cost. And we in India, I think, are not ready to bear that cost. And you mentioned media. Media is very much a part of it. Every year they come up with this press freedom index. We are 189 or somewhere. What about our press presence index? Where are we in the global space? We're not there. And we are, it's not for want of talent or resources. We are a very talented country. We have resources. I think what we lack is vision. And in principle, everyone agrees with the idea of having a global media presence. But the joke is that, I'll switch to Hindi for this.
Go for it.
That बजट जलजीरा है और ख्वाब अल जजीरा है तो हो नहीं पाता.
Wow.
So yeah, that's where we're at.
Layered journalism joke. But nice. Press presence index. It means how widespread are your news portals. The news portals that come out of India on a global scale.
Yes.
It's just Palki Sharma right now.
I wouldn't say that, but I think we are nowhere in the picture compared to the rest of the world.
Could you give an example other than Al Jazeera, BBC? for the
BBC,
British.
RT, CNN, France 24, Channel News Asia, some big players, some not so big players, but they're there.
And
And I'm only talking about, video. Uh, Washington Post writes anything, we are looking at it. New York Times writes anything, we are looking at it.
why aren't those citizens looking at our stuff?
Because we are not doing it in that way.
You're saying that the flaw is that we don't have a vision with what we're doing in the long term.
Yeah.
What's the vision you have?
I think we have to build a credible and impactful global media presence. We have to build that voice. You said that you think that military power is important, and so I'll give you an example from recent history. So in 2008, Russia invaded or attacked Georgia, took away 2 provinces, and declared that they're independent states now. The world did not recognize them. And Russia kept saying that we've done the same that the West did with Kosovo, which also did not have UN backing, but that was seen as a legitimate move. When Russia goes into Ukraine, it is called the Russian invasion. When the US goes into Iraq, it is called a global war on terrorism. How does that work? Because the American media has worked over time to tell the world that this is for the global good. Right? That is what soft power, that is what media presence gives a country. If you don't have it, your intentions will be questioned and your reach will always be limited. And let me add here, when we talk about wars, in today's information age, battlefields are not actually fields anymore. They're here in the mind, right? There's a battle of ideas. Donald Rumsfeld famously, I think it was him or someone else who said that and he said this for the US, which is doing so much already, that in the global battle of ideas, we are sitting on the sidelines. I think that's also true for India. So soft power is attraction. Hard power is
Might.
So your economy, even your technology, military, you can use it as a coercive force. But you don't have to force anyone to watch Hollywood movies or Bollywood movies for that matter. That is your pull. That is your attraction.
How sexy you are, soft power, as a country.
I wouldn't use the word, but yeah.
It's basically how sexy is your country on a global scale and your culture. Like Korea, South Korea.
Yeah, K-pop, they've spent so much money on K-pop.
Is South Korea a good example of a country where soft power significantly outweighs hard power?
I don't know about, you don't have to it has to be, so I'll tell you one more thing. Soft power plus hard power is said to be smart power. And countries should aim for smart power. You can't have one without the other. So you have to have a mix of that. That is one. And second, Bollywood is our soft power. But are you being able to convert that power into some favorable outcome?
A better perception of India in an international viewer's head.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Bollywood is presenting us as a fun-loving, singing, dancing society. But what is the conversion? So Hollywood is making endless movies about the Iraq war or the Afghanistan war and showing how their troops are so courageous and how when aliens attack the world, then it's the American forces that go and fight them. They're building a narrative, constantly building a narrative. Are we being able to build a narrative? And I'm not saying narrative has to be lies. It has to be rooted in some truth. Obviously, people will not buy lies. But it has to shape the world's opinion of you and your opinion of yourself. Both are equally important.
Because of what? Like why should it shape? Why should the world have a good opinion of you? What does it lead to?
It leads to a lot of things. So if you say that India is a country which is not safe, too much red tapeism, very hard to do business, how will an investor look at India?
Because big decisions are made by human beings at the end of the day.
And who have a perception, and perception matters.
Gotcha.
So where you are actually wrong, you should fix that problem. But where your perception is based in someone else's prejudice or a situation that is not true anymore. Maybe back in the day, India had snake charmers, but we are not a land of snake charmers. We are a land of coders now. Yesterday we did a report on how Indian companies have the highest AI adoption rate. This is the new India. So the world should see it as it is.